All right. I would normally try to throw this into a news of the day, but this appears to be a growing story. And so, since we're going out and there may be some Bowmeister stuff to discuss, I want to discuss this separately. As Darren Drager's saying, Shea Weber's meeting with a specialist in Wisconsin now. Now, somebody eagle-eyed on Twitter pointed out that there's a doctor in Green Bay who is known for operating on the feet of NFL players who have foot problems. Shea Weber had a foot issue back in 2018. And what's being reported by Nick Kyprios at the same time on Twitter is that that's what's going on with Weber. So I'm only doing the video on this because I found the second tweet that seems to go with the first. It's important to make sure that you've got multiple sources going and that they seem to match up in their storyline. Now, where it gets sketchy is that apparently he has swelling on his foot, and there's concern. There's concern that he may need surgery, which could take him out for the rest of the season. Now, what Kyprios said on Twitter, which has got people really going crazy, is he said has concerns about his future. Now I don't know. I don't remember how long Peter Forsberg tried to play with one foot. I don't remember how many years Yzerman played where he was clearly broken down physically. But Shea Weber will play as long as his body will allow it. It is going to be tricky though, because with an injury like this, if you can't skate, and again we go back to Forsberg. Forsberg had to have special skates made for him at one point because his foot was so messed up. And so I do hope that with Weber and with the style of hockey he plays, that he's able to come back and play. This absolutely changes things for Marc Bergevin, and whether he'll admit it or not, it has to. That is your anchor on the blue line. That is your main guy on the blue line. Last year when he came back from injury, not this season but last season, it was a huge difference in the Montreal blue line and the goaltending numbers before he came back and after he came back. He's a beast, but again, it's a matter of being able to stay healthy. This is the thing with Weber that has diminished his value when people talk about the best defenseman in the game. And you'll see fans of Montreal going, Weber's still pretty good. And they're right, but it is because he doesn't play that full season that it is hard to put him in the same realm as a guy like a Seth Jones, that kind of thing, even though Seth Jones right now being hurt. I can use numerous other examples. Jones comes to mind because of the injury. John Carlson being one in Washington, of course. So I'll say this. If he does require surgery, a meeting with a specialist doesn't necessarily mean surgery. It could be, I want a second opinion. And the fact that Montreal's not talking about this is even more concerning. The fact that there's sort of this, it's not a gag order, but there's basically, we're not going to talk about it, makes it more concerning that it's more serious. And so Shea Weber, the questions about his career will continue. I will say this for people who say, well, he could end up retiring. The cap recapture penalty for Nashville would be massive if he retired. But he, in all likelihood, if this is a career-ending injury, just goes on the LTIR and his contract gets moved somewhere else. Now, Montreal's not up against the cap next season, so they could probably work their way around it. But in all likelihood, that contract probably gets moved somewhere else. I do hope that it's not career threatening. And again, that's where it gets kind of, it's tricky because I can understand why Nick Kyprios would say and his future. Not just to say his season's likely over and they're thinking about his future kind of thing. But I want to stay out of that. I want to stay just with where we're at right now. It looks like it's his foot, which he had problems with before, which is problematic when it's the same injury. And I've said this before, where when it's different injuries for a guy, yeah, it sucks when he's injury prone, but when he's healthy, he's likely 100%. When it's the same nagging injury, that makes it a little more difficult. So hopefully he's okay, and that we'll hear that he'll play again soon. But again, if he needs surgery, you've got to think with less than 8 weeks left in the season, that probably takes him out at minimum for the rest of the regular season. And it means massive, massive shifts when it comes to what Montreal's plans may have been going into the deadline and what they would be now. Do you go out and try to can you replace Weber? Can you replace the minutes? Can you replace the points? Can you replace the potential goals? Any of that? And the answer for me is no. And then it may become a question of, okay, so if the specialist looks at his foot and goes, "Yeah, I can fix this," but you'll likely never play again. How does Bergevin look at that going forward? Because now you don't have that anchor on the blue line next year. So it is a huge story. Thus the reason I'm doing a video specifically on this. And I will link to both the tweet from Darren Drager and the tweet from Nick Kiprios on this subject. And you guys can let me know what you think in the comment section below. And hopefully this speculation's all cleared up after he meets with the specialist. But with Montreal not talking about it, they may not tell us anything. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hopefully Weber gets better sooner rather than later, and players need to stop getting hurt. That'd be nice. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.